It's Al the meme and and Phil TV.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Today we are doing our first podcast. We're calling it the MemeCast because we're
I didn't know about that.
yeah.
I like it though.
Because
Pretty good.
it describes what we are very in depth, and I think it works. The MemeCast, because we're all just a bunch of walking memes, aren't we? Aren't we?
I'm pretty sure 50% of our conversation is meme related. Which is kind of sad, but
50%. I think like it's more than 50% if you're gonna be like completely honest. Because
it is.
before we started this, like we were just talking about. Now this is pod racing.
But this must have been.
Yeah. Wait, weren't you talking about Rose with that during from The Last Jedi?
Yes, yeah. Everyone's favorite character.
She's my favorite character. Like even better than Kylo Ren, even better than Rey, better than Luke Skywalker. It's Rose.
I actually thought Kylo Ren was really well developed in that The Last Jedi.
I thought he was also very well developed. Oh, and for anybody listening, spoilers for The Last Jedi.
Yeah, remember that moment when Darth Vader died?
Yeah, he came back as a Force ghost, and Snoke got his ghost lightsaber and cut him in half. He said, "Screw you, Darth."
We didn't really intro this well. You just let's start talking about Star Wars now.
Yeah, I know. It's a rocky start. Okay, so this podcast is going to be about nothing other than the new year. What do you say about the new year, Nathan Phillips?
This year I'm going to try and act a bit more mature at school.
Oh, well, that's a really
Probably
great idea.
Not, but I'll try.
It's really difficult with you. I can tell. I walk in the morning and I see the struggle in your eyes. Like,
we had a lot of spicy memes this year, like CHS meme Cavaliers, dressing up as Marty McFly, running for student council, and it's only going to get danker in 2018, Alan.
Only the good memes. You forgot to mention AP Euro memes? Chapter ID terms?
Chapter ID terms, the famous page.
Chapter ID terms.
70 whole followers.
That's more than my meme page has. Go follow it. It's AP US meme. Man, I'm pathetic.
Follow my meme page, dude.
Dude. Follow for a follow. I'll shout you out. Oh boy.
Alright, so you want to talk about The Last Jedi?
Yeah, we'll start off this whole segment talking about the best thing that's ever happened this year, and that is the fact that another Star Wars movie dropped. And
it wasn't trash.
It wasn't a colossal train wreck like Rogue One was. That wasn't a train wreck. I'll be nice to it. It wasn't that bad. But I think my brother is in my room and he's being really annoying right now, and I wish he'd leave.
Being annoying? I came in to see who you were talking to and jacking off. And guess what? We're doing one of the things.
I hate my family.
Did you tell him to do that?
No, I did not. That was on his own will. That was not me.
Oh my gosh.
Dysfunctional family. What were we talking about before that?
I think we should both say what we liked about the movie and then both say what we disliked about the movie.
Okay, you can start since I did the intro on that whole segment.
Alright, so I think The Last Jedi does some great character development in Luke Skywalker, who completely changed what we thought he would be and made his character just perfect. Rey, who comes to terms that she's nobody, and I really like that. Kylo Ren is developed as a great villain. The other characters don't get as much development, but they're all still good characters, I think, and I like them. The plot is, obviously I just love the original plot. Just The Force Awakens was so much similar to A New Hope that it was great to see an original movie, and the plot was actually good. There was a lot of twists and turns and things I didn't expect. Luke Skywalker's death was probably my favorite scene. It's just, him starting his journey with the twin suns and then him dying with the twin suns is just perfect storytelling. Just great imagery there. I thought the action was pretty good. And that's all I can think of just off the top of my head, but there's definitely a lot more good stuff.
Yeah, I have to agree with you with a lot of the points that you made. Number one being that it was not what I expected it to be, and I left the theater being incredibly happy because I didn't leave the theater with the same mindset that I did with The Force Awakens. I watched The Force Awakens and I walked out, I was like, oh, it was just another modern, action movie. I mean, which it was to a certain extent, and it was still Star Wars, but I walked out of this movie and I had that feeling that it was what The Force Awakens should have been, and was a reprisal of the Star Wars saga. And I left the theater just like thinking to myself, that was like what I wanted a Star Wars movie to be. And it was great. Some things I liked. Characters were a number one thing. And we'll get into that more with the whole dislikes thing. We'll address some of the dislikes other people had and why they're wrong.
Why they're gay.
Yeah, why everybody who didn't like Last Jedi is gay.
The movie.
The movie. Ryan Johnson, get on this. But I love the characters, the ways that they were developed, and they were pushed to their sort of, I wouldn't say limit, but I would say that what we expected them to become, Ryan Johnson turned that on its head, and it was a really, just a really fun experience. That's all.
I think, my favorite thing about the movie was that going into it, I was like, oh, gee, who's Rey's parents? Who's Snoke? And then I get in there, and they're like, hey, you're focusing on the wrong things. The focus should be the characters and the plot. And basically, they just threw all that out the window, and that was my favorite part of the movie. It was
Yeah.
Past my expectations.
It was a great movie-going experience, and the fact that there's an overwhelming negativity that is pushed against the movie.
Yeah. It's insane.
It saddens me because no one can either like or hate the movie. Like, you have to, like, everyone's at each other's throats. Like, if you like The Last Jedi, you're not a Star Wars fan. If you didn't like it, you're not a Star Wars fan. And that's just really sad, because the end goal of a movie should just be a movie and not give in to what the audience wants, because the audience doesn't know what they want.
Yeah.
Only the director should give the audience what the director thinks that the audience wants, and that's what I think the movie did, which is, yeah.
People are complaining way too much just because it wasn't what they wanted. It didn't tell them what they wanted it to tell them. Or because Luke Skywalker didn't have an awesome fight scene or whatever.
Oh my goodness.
Luke Skywalker's not who I thought he was. Well, it's 30 years afterwards, people change, you know?
Yeah, Luke Skywalker, he's just drinking some space cow milk.
From Kylo Ren's.
From Kylo Ren's swole chest. Okay, there were some scenes in there that I was all, like, taken aback by, but that was one of them. And, like, you have to be, like, on something to think of something like that. Just saying. Ron Johnson, we know your secrets. You do meth, and you write Star Wars movies.
It's like in the 60s and 70s where all the artists did drugs to write better music. You do drugs to write a better movie.
A better Star Wars movie.
Ryan Johnson started doing LSD to write Star Wars.
You know what? That wouldn't be too much of a stretch. I'd believe that. Because coming out of that movie, there were just so many WTF moments where I was all like, "Geez."
Whoa.
Speaking of WTF moments, what were some of your dislikes about the movie?
The number one dislike was the humor. I hated at the beginning where it was like Poe was talking to Hux, and he was like, he said he has a message for your mother, and then everyone in the theater started laughing. I was like, that's not funny at all.
Well,
like,
if you
literally
think,
everyone in the theater started laughing, and I was like, what is wrong with you people?
if you think about it in context, because the movie takes place right after The Force Awakens, right?
Yeah.
Han Solo just freaking died. And they're just coming from Starkiller Base to this, I forgot what planet that the Resistance is on. And then, like less than a day later, it's all like, oh, we're poking fun. No one, yeah. The last movie, it took me out because I was all like, I mean, it was fun. Like the beginning sequence was fun, and I thought
It opens the movie.
yeah,
fairly.
it's a good movie opener, and it's a deviation from The Force Awakens and how how this movie didn't mimic The Empire Strikes Back. Uh, but yeah, the humor was.
Awful.
I mean, some of it.
Yeah, I left at a couple things, but
I
a lot of the
appreciate it.
humor took away from very serious moments.
And some of
It's
the
a serious film. It's not supposed to have a lot of funny bits.
yeah, it has a lot of tonal deficiencies because it felt more like Marvel movie comedy, and that's not what I want from Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't want that crap.
I don't want those cringy jokes from kids who play Minecraft on their PS4s all day.
Yeah, get out of here.
Get out of here, you gay Minecraft kid.
another, another thing I didn't like was I felt like I was cared so much more about the Luke and Rey part of it than I did the Finn and Rose part and the Poe part, where I was
The
like,
Cantabite sequence.
when they went to that, I was like, I want to see this again. And the Canto Bite stuff was not bad, but it was a bit drawn out. And honestly, they didn't even have to go to Canto Bite. They could have just gone directly to the ship. They could have cut all that out.
Yeah, I mean they would have accomplished the same
Same
amount.
goal.
Yeah, I don't
And
understand.
Phasma just shows up out of nowhere.
And she's like,
And is
"Remember
there
me?
for like 2 seconds. I hate that character so much.
Remember me? I
She should
exist."
not be in that movie. Should not have been in the entire series.
If she were in the movie, I would have liked her to have a bigger role.
She should have been there at the beginning, and then it would actually have made sense.
Yeah, they blamed this on Rian Johnson for not incorporating her in the movie, but it started with J.J. Abrams, and I think that's
Yeah,
because
it's all their fault.
she
really.
had this hype around her because, you were expecting her to be this,
She looks cool. Whoa!
she must be cool. And the actress who plays her, Gwendolyn Christie, in Game of
Excellent.
Thrones. In Game of Thrones, she's like one of my favorite characters, and I just like to see her on screen for more than 5 minutes before being thrown down an elevator shaft.
Also, her armor can resist blaster fire, but then in The Force Awakens, he stays at gunpoint.
Well,
When she wouldn't have done anything. What's up with that?
well, like maybe in between the two movies, the like couple hours that take in between the two movies, she was like better upgrade, and she like painted it with some silver blaster deflecting paint.
You're right. I think that's exactly what happened.
We should like contact Rian Johnson and be like, "Is that the canon? Is this canon?"
Pablo Hidalgo. So,
Anything's fair game.
what do you think they're gonna do with Leia?
Oh, jeez.
Topic.
That is a great question. Because with Lucasfilms has been searching for a solution to this, especially with the Fisher family. They at first announced that they would not recreate her digitally, and they also announced that all her scenes in the Last Jedi would be unaltered,
Yeah.
and they initially announced that they would use chopped
Her
up
dead
footage. Carrie Fisher's dead body. They tie they
The
tie
puppet.
they tie ropes to her, carry around as a marionette, acts like nothing's different. The whole
That's
movie.
awful.
That is. If that happens, J.J. Abrams, hit us up. We got good ideas.
What I think will happen is, obviously they can't recast any other series. They could recast, but Star Wars, you can't do that.
Because I mean, it would be different, I guess, if it were an incredibly minor character.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Carrie Fisher
Carrie
and
Fisher.
Princess Leia, which is Star Wars. You can't recast Star Wars, or it won't be Star Wars.
I think there's going to be a big time jump in between the movies, and the movie might start off with her funeral, which would be kind of dissatisfying, but it's kind of what has to happen, I think. I don't know what else they could possibly do.
Yeah, kind of like in Shrek 3, how they open up with the king's death. And they have Live and Let Die play.
That's exactly how it is.
Yeah, so Star Wars Episode 9, Shrek 3 edition. It opens up and it plays Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the movie ended where there could be a huge time jump, because they're like, we're going to rebuild the Resistance.
Yeah,
And then they have a kid at the end.
That kid. Okay, let's talk about the kid, because I saw that kid use the Force to pull his broom. No one else saw it. I asked so many people. I was like, did no one see the kid use the Force to, like, that lazy kid? He couldn't reach 3 more inches to grab his broom, so he just used the Force to do it.
Yeah.
And then
I
no one else
actually
saw
noticed it the second time I watched the movie, but
like
it's kind of hard. I can see how you could miss it.
because yeah, it was like a really dark the way it was shot, but like people complain about that last shot being really dumb, which to an extent it is because it took place on Cantobite, and Cantobite in itself was kind of pointless. So we're all like, oh, but it sets up the later movies and what could potentially happen, and it serves a greater purpose, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a good ending.
It's weird to be able to sit here and just say that there's another trilogy of Star Wars movies like that I'm living through. And that's like really cool because
And there's going to be another one with Ryan Johnson.
You know what? If he wants to make his Jar Jar spin-off movies, then he can.
I'm not excited for another trilogy. I think they should stop with this one.
Yeah, if they need to take a long break.
Like, over 50 years break.
Yeah, come back 50 years later, like, you remember the new trilogy. Get ready for the new trilogy. And
yeah, man.
They get Harrison.
Even then, it should be about something different, though.
Yeah, I don't know what they would do. Because they could jump into the future, they could go back to the past, or they could focus on other events.
Not a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away anymore. Star Wars meets Earth.
Han Solo and Chewbacca crash on Earth. Han Solo dies.
Indiana Jones.
And yeah, Chewbacca becomes the Sasquatch.
I hate that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the people who write those comics are great people.
I think we should listen to some of the Ginger Stallion, my favorite SoundCloud rapper.
If you can, I'd like you to put him on blast so we can get that baby boy.
I actually downloaded SoundCloud
just to listen to him.
Yeah, like no joke.
Oh, I mean, I guess I can relate. I downloaded. What did I download? I downloaded something just for the proprietary use of one thing.
I think this is the one that references
Voldemort?
It's your boy
boy, Ginger Stallion.
Oh boy.
Coming at you with another diss.
Another diss track.
Hey,
Is there more?
hey,
This time on Turnville.
hey.
Let's get it. Hey, what's up, you retard? I see that you a hog calling him a fat law. Yo, you don't even know how to blink on, so you need to shut up, cause I'm getting fed up with y'all. Every time you lay your eyes on your dog, you go make it squeal like a hog. Will be cracking you even see the fog on transit. Wow, you're burning in lava, bro. I just saw your mama. She was mad up in Hades, angrier than a lump. You can't even spell milk cause you're staring at every hook. Get your life together, bro. I've seen your math grade, and you're with that. You'll never get paid. You're probably gonna play mother one you want. Hey, Jaeger, what's her name? Yeah. Her name is Kelly Foster Young. Kelly Foster Young. Yeah, Kelly Foster. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
That's lovely. Oh my.
Someone that I just met, yeah. If for no reason, or because you don't like it. Wanting to have fun, trying to make it fun, bro. Which one? Dig means your day, so trying to dig a hole for the turtle that we killed. Man, we're for real on this
boy.
word.
Yeah.
Yes, better
Yeah.
reviews. You can play some Minecraft.
So, what do you think of that glorious rap?
Have you ever wanted to like simultaneously kill yourself, but also like pass into like another realm, another level of reality at the same time?
Of course,
Because that's the feeling I get when I listen to that.
Ginger Stallion. Everybody, go follow him on Instagram.
You know what they say about stallions? They have big penises.
Well, okay then.
Actually, I don't even think that's a saying. But you're welcome.
Yeah, I would
whoever's
hope it's
listening to this.
not.
Yeah, I would also hope it. Come on, man. He's your homeboy.
All right, let's move on to another topic. What do you think was the best meme of 2017?
Best meme of 2017.
Wait, let's list them off first. Salt Bay,
Oh my goodness. Don't even.
that
That's
one. Shooting Star, fidget spinners.
Bidget winners.
What were the other ones? The Italian meme was pretty big for a while.
I forgot about that one. Jeez. I'm trying to think. Like, what are we classifying as
NFL
memes? Because
And
they're
the Ben Swallow.
Bean Swallow. My favorite meme would have to be fidget spinners, I would think. Because it's all about that spin life.
Mine was Ben Swallow.
Yeah, I'd have to say
I'm
mine was
always
Ben
about
Swallow
Star
too.
Wars memes.
And it's really weird because if you remember with The Force Awakens, there was the traitor meme.
Yeah, and then Rogue One, the Chirrut Imwe being blind,
Yeah,
and them all dying at the end meme.
and it's all weird.
So there's been a good meme with every new Star Wars movie.
And I think that's great because it keeps it relevant in pop culture. You know.
Yeah, you better bring us some dank memes in episode 9, or I'm gonna stop watching.
And like, but you can never predict that. Imagine me telling you, like 4 years ago, there's gonna be a Star Wars movie where the main antagonist goes shirtless, and he looks like a pumped up beefcake.
And it becomes a meme.
Yeah, and he becomes a meme.
I didn't even know what a meme was 4 years ago.
Yeah,
dude.
I know. I was a small kid with unnaturally large testicles living in Uganda, and I moved to America.
But you're white.
You don't have to be black to live in Uganda, Nathan.
Yes, you.
No, you.
Yes, you.
Can we get that in a quote? Like, Enfield 2018. You have to be black to live in Uganda.
You're right.
I'll put that on a shirt. That should be like our new catchphrase for like the podcast. You have to be black to live in Uganda.
Dude, people people would either hate that shirt and call it racist, or like embrace it and like only black people would wear it, and it'd be like
Only
okay.
black people. Starting off this year on a good start. Yeah.
With a good podcast.
A good podcast. Did we also mention that we're doing a podcast now? To anybody listening.
Like 4 people probably.
4 people who are gonna watch this. It feels good. I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, thanks for watching, boys.
My dudes. To everybody, have a great 2018.
Yeah. I think this year will be good. Obviously, I'm pretty sure a lot of terrible stuff's going to happen, like wars and terrorist attacks. But as long as we keep our minds focused on the true goals and we pray a bunch, we'll be good.
Yeah. How am I supposed to say something really good after that? You just took the words out of my mouth. It's like the guy who spoke after Martin Luther King Jr., you know? Like, what are you supposed to say?
Well, I can't beat that, so I'll just give you something more entertaining.
Wait. Thanks for watching, everybody. Just end it there.
End it there.
End it there and be like...
And edit out the rest.
Yeah. And, like, make the next hour and a half just black.
The next hour and a half's like me calling the cops. Yes, I swear he killed himself.
The ambulance showing up at my door. You see them yell and they take me out on a gurney.
Like, you did just one guy with a stretcher and he rapes you before he puts it on.
And you know what? The implication for that...
And I'm just watching, like... Then I call the cops, and he sees, and he comes and kills me.
And it would be funny because...
It's not funny.
Nathan.
It's been a good talk.
Nathan.
You're gonna edit that part out, right?
Who said anything about that?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I'll edit the bit out where you talk about the ambulance man raping me in my gurney. I remember you at the beginning of this being like, this is 2018. I want to be more mature. And half an hour later, you're like, hey, you're gonna get raped in a gurney, Alan. Wouldn't that be funny? Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Starting off strong. Okay. So, do you want to call this it?
Yeah, I think this was a pretty spicy meme.
I think it was a pretty spicy meme also. Okay, thank you everybody for listening, and we'll
Thanks,
be back.
everybody.
We'll be back